Welcome back to the My Nintendo podcast. This is the first episode. I wanted to talk about some of the changes to the My Nintendo store and a few other things. So, welcome to my new series. I've kind of got a little bit going with the audio here. We are going to try to have this available on regular podcast platforms as well as YouTube. So it will be we'll be debuting on YouTube. If the reception is good, we may bring it to other platforms. My vision for this is really to do a quarterly on them because the news is kind of slowed down as far as My Nintendo goes. It's not really been a buzz lately, but the reason I am doing this podcast is the opposite of that, which is they did do a huge update to the My Nintendo store. That noise you hear in the background is me crunching ice on my ankle that I sprained earlier today. I don't know if I sprained it or I just twisted something, but anyways, so this new site basically replaced their old site. Now there are some pros and cons to this site, so I did kind of want to go into that, and then I want to go into the details, and then after that I kind of want to go into just overall how I feel about what they've done with this change. There are good and there are bad things for sure. That's no question. But I think for the most part here, they did do a good job of, balancing things out and skewing it more towards the fans, which is a good thing, I think. That it's being skewed a little bit more closer to the fans. I'm trying to get this a little bit louder and closer to me, guys. Okay, anyway, so what I want to do is kind of go through the basics of My Nintendo, the changes they made. We will be eventually doing a 2022 guide. What happened to the window capture is all messed up. I don't know how that happened, guys. Whoop, whoop, whoop. There we go. How about fit to screen? How about that? How about you fit to screen? Boom! Alright. So, anyway, I kind of wanted to go in to the basics of My Nintendo. I mean, this is a rewards point system. Many of you know that already. I do have a video, which I will link in the description here, that goes over the point system, how you acquire the points. And I've been following and tracking My Nintendo for quite some time, so that's why I decided to start this podcast, because I have been in the trenches researching this stuff for almost 2 years. So I feel like I can talk to at a professional and high level about this topic. So that's why we are talking about My Nintendo on this podcast. So first thing, if you guys don't know, it's North America, so it's US and Canada. You get free shipping on orders $50 or more. So this is different. So I don't know if you guys know. Some of you will be long-time My Nintendo folks that know about all the different changes. But going back to Club Nintendo had free shipping. This is I want to go. I'm going to take you back in the Wayback Machine here. Club Nintendo had free shipping. Okay, so we went from free shipping. There was no minimum as far as I remember. I do not believe there was a minimum on Club Nintendo. It was just free shipping. That's it. So I say that to say that the shipping has kind of gotten out of hand. So it started at $5. No, it was $2.99. I believe it was $2.99, and then it was $4.99. Or they went from $2 to $7.99. I can't remember, but it used to be super affordable to order this stuff. I know it was $5 for the longest time. You could combine stuff. People were able to multi-account, so you would, have two different My Nintendo accounts and gather points with each, and then you could claim one of each item because there is a limit of one item per account. So that's kind of the gist there, is that you basically could get one item and that was it now. Versus before you could, stack. It was more not geared for, but I don't think anybody purposely set something up for a scalper. But I think in this case, it's just how it was. You can get all these points. The points are essentially an unlimited currency because to generate them, you just need new accounts. and you just need to play the games or do what they ask you to do. So it's like literally generating money out of thin air. So, scalpers are taking advantage of this and ordering 10 or 20 things on a one shipping. And Nintendo was seeing this. Nintendo doesn't like other people making money. So that's why these shipping changes were made. And I say all that. 5 minutes of talking. I say all that to say that. Oh man, my foot. You get free shipping on orders of 50 or more. So if you can manage to combine. Now what they're doing here is they're taking a page from Lego VIP. Lego VIP does something almost exactly like this where you can't just spend your points. You're not really able to do that. You actually have to take those points and combine them with something and then ship it. You can't just, In this case, you can spend the $8 on the shipping if you want, unlike Lego VIP where you just can't do that. But the good thing with that is you're really able to, combine if you're already going to be finding items out there on the shop that you want to combine with existing My Nintendo items. You are able to do that. If it's $50 or more, you get the free shipping on it. There's also, it's talking about exclusive offers and merchandise. I don't know what that is. Purchasing and downloading digital games right to your Switch, that's just normal stuff. So we're going to go check out the actual shop itself. So what changed is it used to be a physical area on, what it say, go click on redeem physical rewards. And what they've done is they've changed that up now so that it's all a part of this area. Okay, so you've got games, hardware, so you can buy digital games here. There's hardware, merchandise, and you have store exclusives, sales and deals. You can just buy stuff directly here. So that's that part of it. There also is the actual My Nintendo store part, where you can go in and actually get the items. My Nintedo Rewards, here it is. So this is where you're going to want to go, basically on it. It's under, if you're listening, you want to go to the tab that says My Nintendo Store on Nintendo.com/store. If you're watching the podcast, you'll see me doing this on screen. But that's basically what you do. You click on the My Nintendo Rewards under My Nintendo Rewards under Store Exclusives. And that's going to take you here to this page. And you can see there's a bunch of new stuff that they added. So we did talk about these. I did not make a video about the Pokemon Legends, Arceus, Pikachu, and Eevee. They released these, and I did not make a video. They're 400 each. You can get one of each. Before you could stack these and get multiples. But one of each is basically what you're going to be left with there. And, so that's cool. But you can see a lot of stuff came back, like the Tom Nook Keychain, which I thought was super cool that came back. I'm tempted to get it, but the $8 shipping is a bit put off for me, I'll be honest. It'd have to be something I really wanted. And I like this, and that really gets me into the meat of this podcast. So I kind of showed off what's new here. There's not really much else to see. The only difference is you're not getting... Well, I guess there's one other thing to talk about with the new My Nintendo Store, and that is that you no longer get a key code. Before you would go onto the My Nintendo Rewards site, you would collect a key code, and then you would take that key code to this site, essentially, which is the store. So instead of... they took out the middleman, which is actually super... good web optimization, honestly, and so I think Nintendo is heading in the right direction with its online stuff, because this is actually really good optimization, and it's really good best practice type design. So I really, really like what they did here with this type of design. So it's very, very cool. The other thing that kind of ties back to this is talking about the difference in why this is better for the consumer versus the old method. Now, the new method is pro-consumer. With that being said, the caveat, I would say my caveat there would be that the $7.99 shipping isn't pro-consumer. But they are trying to weed out people that are reselling here, and I think that's the main objective of this new program is to unify their site and simplify their operations. So you're not entering a code on one site and then entering the code and taking it to a second site. It's all being handled. Your points are gathered as a currency on the My Nintendo shop. The other thing that is advantageous to Nintendo is this gets people shopping for other items because they need a $50 minimum. So what Nintendo is really doing is giving you a sales pitch here. They're saying, yeah, we'll give you these free goodies, but we really want you to order items. That's why it's $50 free shipping. We really don't want you to just put these items in a cart and pay the shipping. And if you do, you're going to pay an exorbitant amount of shipping because we really just don't want you to do that. And that's essentially what has happened here, which is very interesting. And I like, actually quite a bit, how this is taking away some gusto from people that were ordering 10 of each thing because you just get a million accounts going. This will discourage that behavior for a couple of reasons. One, they're only going to be they can't stack them. They've got to just order under that account. So they're going to be paying $8 a pop. Like if you wanted to scalp, for example, I'm just going to give you an example. If you wanted to scalp the Pokemon Legends, Arceus, Galaxy Expedition, and these phone cable ties, I don't remember what these called. They're called phone cable ties or something to that nature. If you wanted to scalp these, it would be $8 for two. So that takes it's $4 a piece. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot, but this stuff doesn't sell for a ton on eBay. Like you might get $20 for it if you're lucky. So it's that's taking away from your profit margin. Whereas if you could have stacked those orders before, right, you could have got 10 accounts going, took all the key codes and dumped it. Nintendo hates stuff like this, and that's why they took it away. Dump all the key codes into one cart and then pay $6 and you had $400 in goods that you could resell. So I think Nintendo just doesn't like that. But one thing I will notice, and you might notice too, is stuff stays in stock longer. Now, I don't know if they beefed up their stock resources for this or something of that description. I don't really think so. My guess is that is not what happened. But it's hard to say. They got a lot of old stuff back in and some new stuff, as well. So, for example, this Tom Nook Keychain. Now, this thing was rare, beyond rare, for the longest time. So it's one of those situations where, people were waiting for this item for years that were finally able to get it. That I heard from, by the way, in my YouTube channel. It's one of the reasons I do what I do on my YouTube channel, by the way. YouTube.com/The Mike Will Experiment is the YouTube channel associated with this podcast. But, it's basically just great to see people finally connecting and able to get these items. And it really is thanks to Nintendo changing this format. I think most people that are resellers, or all people that are resellers probably, they're not going to like this. But I think your average person who just follows our channel because they want to grab what they want to grab, not only is this awesome that all this extra stuff came back up just kind of out of the blue, but it's now more accessible for people that really, really want it. Because, what are you going to do? You're going to get this My Nintendo game card case and pay $8 for shipping, then My Nintendo card case that holds 6 games, and that's the one item you're going to get? Probably not, unless you really, really wanted that item. Or maybe you'll go and you'll order $50 worth of stuff because you're like, dang, I don't really want to, I don't really want to put all this shipping into this Tom Nook keychain. I don't want to pay $8 to ship a Tom Nook keychain. And it doesn't cost $8 to ship a Tom Nook keychain. They want to put that money in their pocket, right? So, I could ship one of these myself. I'm an eBay seller. I could ship a Tom Nook keychain for, $2 first class mail. It doesn't weigh anything. I'm maybe exaggerating. It's $2 to $4, but it's definitely not $8. Now, granted, you can't. I don't know if you can use private first class mail as a business, but I still think $8 is very, very, very overpriced. They should be getting a business rate. It can't cost them more than a few dollars to ship it. It's building in a profit margin. So that part I don't like. I'd say that's the biggest con of the new system. Overall, I really like it. If I had to give it a score, it'd be 8 out of 10 as far as the new site and the new processes. I think Nintendo's done an excellent job here of sort of consolidating their different web assets to make them more convenient for the consumer and for themselves on the back end, probably. So it also means they were probably open to bringing in more product because they know it will last longer. They don't have to keep changing it out. And when people are ordering it, they are getting a little bit back to buy more or to replenish their products. So, at the end of the day, My Nintendo is part of their business. So they can't not run it like a business. That's just not how Nintendo is. But that is going to be the end of my first episode of this podcast. And this podcast wanted to talk about this changes to the My Nintendo website. I will be doing these podcasts periodically when there is news. My vision for this is quarterly. I don't think there's going to be enough news. Because, literally, I want them to be about this long. And unless there's, a big change like this, it's going to be really hard to have them be this long. So, you may have to wait for something else big to happen. But do keep your eyes and ears tuned to the channel for more updates. But this has been episode 1 of the My Nintendo podcast, and we'll see you next time with episode 2, and I hope y'all are having a great day.